everybody, to another fantastic episode of the Very Vinyl Podcast. My name is Joe Marquez, and I am going to be your host for today. Now, if you missed our first episode, just go down to bit.ly/veryvinyl, and you can take a look at our first episode. We featured Guardrail as our present LP to take a look at, and then we featured Ann Beretta's first release, Bitter Tongues, as our past, and then also Ann Beretta's brand new album Rise, which became available on June 3rd to pre-order. So definitely go and take a look at that first episode. But today, I want to take you through 3 more records that I find very just great to listen to all the way through. So today, for our past episode, we're going to be looking at, this is going to be one of the longer names of a band I've ever heard, Diane Parkers Little Accidents, and their album, You Can't Fix Everything. And then we're going to take a look at a present release from the Dirty Nil, F-Art. It's a longer name than that, but F-Art is the name for that. Really good album. And then we're going to come down to the future. And this, I guess it's the future present, because Joyce Manor is releasing their brand new record, 40 Ounces to Fresno. It releases today, actually. So it's in the future for me, because I still haven't received my pre-order. But that's what we're going to be looking at today. So I hope you'll enjoy some of these samples that we're going to go down through as well. And then at the end, we're going to have a little question for all of you watching, whether you're watching on Twitter or Instagram or YouTube. I want to have like a little audience interaction, asking you some questions about what you do with your vinyl. All right, so but without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with our past album. So the past album that I want to bring up is Diane Parker's Little Accident. Now, I want to tell you something really quick about this band. I'd never heard of them before. Never. And the reason I actually own this record is because of Ann Beretta. I was purchasing Ann Beretta's album, Bitter Tongues, and the only place I could find that album was in Germany. And so I got on Discogs and I saw somebody selling it, one of the only people who was selling this album, Bitter Tongues by Ann Beretta. And so I reached out to this person on Discogs and was able to make a deal to purchase it. But I'm thinking to myself, the album itself, the Ann Beretta Bitter Tongues album, didn't cost very much. But the shipping to the United States from Germany was quite a bit. It was like $20, $25. And so the person I bought it from said, you know what? To make the shipping worth it, I'm going to throw in some extra albums for you. And this is one of the albums they threw in. And so I threw it on, listening to it, not expecting much because it was a free album. And it actually was really good. It's one of those albums that I can put on in the background and then just nod along to it and just enjoy it. Now, Diane Parker's Little Accidents, that's the entire name, they weren't around for a very long time. I see on their discography, they've only released 2 albums. This was their second, and it was their last. And it was released in 2013 in Germany. And there were only 500 pressings made of this album. Now, I have this album right here. And it came in 500 pressings, and 250 were regular black vinyl, and then there's this special one right here, a marbled white and brown to kind of fit the front label right here. And so it's really, I like the color. I like brown. Brown's pretty neat, and it's translucent when you hold it up, right? So it's really great. But there are only 250 of those pressed. Now, amazingly, there's still some available to purchase, even though it was back in 2013. And I do in our show notes have that available for you. And if you go to our show notes, which is at bit.ly/veryvinylnotes, you'll be able to see all the notes of all the different people that we're talking about, but also click on the buy it here option so that you can buy this album. There are still a few available. Now, the genre of these guys is, they call themselves like Gainesville style punk. I kind of put them in the folk punk category, almost like very early 2000s Against Me maybe like the eternal cowboy phase of Against Me. And I like them quite a bit. So it kind of works. So I want to play actually a couple songs from this band. And I think you're going to enjoy it. So the first song I would like to play from Diane Parkers Little Accidents is called Secrets. Now on the LP, this is going to be song 1 of side 2. So without further ado, here is Secrets by Diane Parkers Little Accidents on the album You Can't Fix Everything.
About me, like an open book with my head in the clouds and the heart on my sleeve. But what's the use in keeping secrets? If you want it, you can't keep it. I don't need it, I don't need it. And I can't hear myself saying things that I probably shouldn't have said, but I won't take them back. And I know you got trouble with letting yourself fall. I'm telling you there's beauty in letting go. Everything I try to hide, you can read in my face. If I'm angry or sad or happy or feeling out of place, but what's the use in keeping secrets? If you want it, you can't keep it. And I can't hear myself saying things that I probably shouldn't have said, but I won't take them back. And I know you got trouble with letting yourself fall. I'm telling you there's beauty in letting go. And I can't hear myself saying things that I probably shouldn't have said, but I won't take them back. And I know you got trouble with letting yourself fall. I'm telling you there's beauty in letting go.
So that is Secrets off of Diane Parker's Little Accidents, You Can't Fix Everything. I like the vibe. The singer's voice just really resonates with me. It's something that I can just nod my head to. I can play that in the background, and I like it quite a bit. And then there was another song, like when I'm thinking about, which song I want to pull out for you and like, kind of like introduce you to this band if you've never heard of them. This is the one that I was looking at. But there was another one that I was like, maybe I should play this one too. But I'm like, why not? It's my podcast. I'm going to go ahead and play this next one. So this next one is another one off of side 2. It's track number 10. This one is called Summer. Summer by Diane Parker's Little Accidents on the album You Can't Fix Everything.
get them out, they make me feel the walking away. I walk the same route every time, down the river, across the bridge, up the hill, and back again. All these stones on my shoe, I've tried to get them out, they make me feel the walking away. I walk the same route every time, down the river, across the bridge, up the hill, and back again. And if you ask me, where have you been? I'll give you random directions of my way. And if you ask me, why don't you get it over with? I don't know what to say. I throw some stones in the water, watch them sink. The current takes the ripples away. But you can drown your thoughts at the bottom of a river, they will come up again. I throw some stones in the water, watch them sink. The current takes the ripples away. But you can drown your thoughts at the bottom of a river, they will come up again. And if you ask me, where have you been? I'll give you random directions of my way. And if you ask me, why don't you get it over with? I don't know what to say. If you ask me, where have you been? I'll give you random directions of my way. And if you ask me, why don't you get it over with? I never know what to say.
Now, I mean, that's just really, I love it. It reminds me again of Against Me, their song "Sink Florida Sink." You know, that's one of the songs I really love off, from just the songs of Against Me, and that kind of reminds me of it. So highly recommend that you pick this album up if you can find it. Now, I looked on Discogs to see if you can find it. You can find it pretty cheap, but it's coming from Germany. So if you're watching this, across the Atlantic, yeah, pick it up. It's great. But if you're here in the States, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. But I definitely recommend you buy it in a bundle with a whole bunch others because of that shipping. All right, so that is Diane Parkers Little Accidents, the album You Can't Fix Everything. That is our past album you should definitely take a look at. Present. What is the present album you should buy right now? Oh my goodness. What can I say about the Dirty Nil? These individuals are quickly becoming one of my favorite bands. They have some really great releases, but I think this album, F Art, right? You can see what it's actually called. This album is phenomenal. It's from start to finish. I could throw this on and just listen to it on complete repeat. You know what I mean? It is fantastic. It is fantastic. It's so good. And it made me really, really, really dig deep to figure out which song do I want to play. It says right here, Doom Boy is probably really popular with a lot of people. But I'm like, what can I play to really show just the breadth of everything from the Dirty Nil? There's so much you can do. Again, one of my favorite albums of 2021. Still one of my favorite albums here in 2022. What do I want to play? And Hello Jealousy was the album that Hello Jealousy, is the song I wanted to share with you. Now, when I first saw this on the back of the album, I thought they were like redoing that Gin Blossoms song, Hey Jealousy. I thought they were going to put a little bit spin on it, but Hey Jealousy from the Gin Blossoms, what was that, from the 90s? I thought that's what they were redoing, but no, nothing close to that. And this song is just absolutely freaking amazing. So I want to play it for you. Hello Jealousy, it's on side 2. I believe it's song 2 on side 2 of the Dirty Nil album, F Art. Here we go, the song Hello Jealousy. Wow, so I love that song. I can listen to that song over and over and over. It really resonates with me because jealousy is just such an angry beast that just, we all have it. Whether we're jealous about our siblings or jealous about some of our coworkers or jealous on what other, it's jealousy is just that beast that we can't beat, right? Fantastic song. I love it. And that's just one of many on this fantastic album. Again, in our show notes, it'll show you where you can buy it from Dine Alone Records, or I'm sure you can get off Amazon. I highly recommend you go to one of your local record shops to see if they have it. Definitely look up some of those local record shops on Discogs. You know, support those smaller businesses, but definitely pick up this album if you see it. I do have to say, that these individuals, they come out of the fantastic north of Canada. I believe it's Hamilton, Hamilton, Canada. I believe that's in the Ontario province, and I know that because my buddy lives up in Waterloo. Roland, I'm talking about you. So just a great band. And a little side note for this album, they released a special edition, 100 copies, special edition, where you could upload a picture of your dog, and they would redo the cover with your dog on it. And the proceeds of that special edition went to a humane society. So I thought that was a fantastic thing for them to do. I sure wish I hadn't missed out. I would have put my Murph right on that cover. But fantastic album, fantastic group. You will be hearing more and more and more about the Dirty Nil. They are fantastic. I'm calling it. They're going to take over the world. They're going to take it over. So definitely check them out. All right, so we've done our past, right? Diane Parkers Little Accidents, check that one out. We've done our current or our present, the Dirty Nil. Now for the future. The future is going to be pretty neat because we have Joyce Manor here. Now, Joyce Manor, they've been around since like the 2006, I believe, is when they first got together. But I think one of their first releases came out in like 2010. Really rocked it with that release. But now we're looking at this release coming out here today. Actually, it's coming out today, June 10th, 2022. You can definitely purchase this. I bought mine directly from Epitaph Records in Coke bottle clear. It's just, I got it because of the name. Now, I like Joyce Manor. They're a pretty good group. But I don't ever really rush out to buy their albums. But this album, 40 Ounces to Fresno. I live in Fresno, California. Right? And I'm like, oh, somebody named an album after Fresno. I have to know more about this. And I read that the name came from the band members texting each other, and they were talking about 40 Ounces to Freedom by Sublime. Another fantastic album as well. Maybe we'll have to throw that in as a past. And the autocorrect changed it to 40 Ounces to Fresno. They thought it was so hilarious that they kept it as the album. If you want to know more about that story or more about Joyce Manor, definitely check out the Brooklyn Vegan Podcast. So Brooklyn Vegan's a fantastic website. I buy a lot of records off of them, but they just started a podcast, and their very first podcast did an interview with Joyce Manor. And so they talk all about their history, and they talk about this album. So definitely check that out if you want to. But I think it's pretty cool that they named this 40 Ounces to Fresno. So I am anticipating this release to come out today, and be delivered to me. Because it's brand new, they only have a few tracks that they've released. So I want to play this one for you. This song right here is called Gotta Let It Go. No, this is not Let It Go by Frozen. My daughter loves that song. This is Gotta Let It Go by Joyce Manor from their brand new album releasing today, 40 Ounces to Fresno. Here we go.
Gotta let it go.
right, so that's Gotta Let It Go by Joyce Manor off their brand new album, 40 Ounces of Fresno, releasing today. Now, my only concern with this album is that I think there's like only 8 songs, maybe 9 on the album, and if they're all that short, 20 minutes, that means it's going to be like an 18-minute, 20-minute album. That's pretty quick. But, there's albums out there that rock that are short. I mean, Circle Jerk's Wild in the Streets, I think that clocks in at like 21 minutes. There's some Descendants albums out there that are pretty quick as well. So some good punk albums, really hit you and leave you. Right, so I'm hoping that's what this one does. But so definitely take a look at 40 Ounces to Fresno by Joyce Manor, releasing today. And again, if you are like, oh, what was the name of that band again? Or what was that song that you played? Please definitely take a look at our show notes. So if you go over to bit.ly, so bit.ly/veryvinylnotes, all one word, all lowercase, you can come in here and you can see all the show notes from all of our shows. So this is show number 2. And so you'll be able to see Diane Parkers Little Accidents. You'll see the Discogs link to the exact version that I own. A little bit about the band, where you can buy the album, how to connect with the band, and then listen to some of their music online as well. So definitely take a look right here and go through it. And then once this show is over, I'll then place the YouTube link on here as well, so you can just share it with anybody that you need to. So I love being able to bring these records out to you. Again, one of my passions is to find bands that you may not know about, or bands that you do know about and do love and wish more people heard them. And you're probably telling your friends all the time, you got to listen to this band, you got to listen to that band. And they're like, oh, you're just a vinyl junkie. You just like vinyl. That's why now you can point them to a podcast, like, hey, there's another crazy vinyl guy that's saying the same thing. Right. So definitely point them to this podcast. If I'm missing, a key album that you think that I definitely have to showcase, shoot me a Discog link, shoot me a link. You can find me on Very Vinyl Pod on Twitter, Very Vinyl Pod on Instagram, or you can head over to our YouTube channel at bit.ly/veryvinyl, and definitely let us know which albums we need to feature. I'll find it, I will purchase it, I will listen to it, and if it resonates with me, I'll bring it on the pod and share it out as well. And remember, I know there's some key albums out there, right, by Rolling Stones or AC/DC or Metallica, right? I understand that. We're not bringing out those bands. We're bringing out bands that are coming out or have been out that we really need to showcase them, because they're not being played on the radio. They're not known in the stratosphere that these individuals need to be known. So that's what I'm trying to do with this podcast. Now, before we go, I would love to ask this as a call to action. Vinyl is a real space sucker, right? I mean, think about it. Like, that was an issue back in the 80s and 90s and maybe early aughts when people were collecting vinyl. And then there was a pause a little bit from a lot of people, moving over to CDs, cassettes, and then digital. And I mean, you're putting, the entire catalog of digital onto something as small as this, right? And now it's with all the streaming services, you have every song imaginable right on this little tiny digital device. You don't need storage. But for vinyl lovers like us, who want to own a piece of the band's memorabilia in song form, the vinyl album is key to us. But when we start doing that, man, it can start taking up space, and our significant others can remind us that it definitely starts taking up space. So how do you tangle that web? How do you store your vinyl? What is your storage space? What is your vinyl vestibule, so to speak? So what are you doing? I would love to see pics. So definitely respond in Very Vinyl Pod on Twitter, Instagram, or so on and so forth. I would love to feature some of these images on our next podcast or future podcast to really help people getting into collecting or having collected, and how just kind of give some ideas about how to store their vinyl. So that is your mission. What is your vinyl vestibule? How are you storing that vinyl in any way, shape, or form? Again, my name is Joe Marquez. If you liked this episode, if you like the Very Vinyl Pod, please follow us. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us and subscribe every time a new episode drops on YouTube. We absolutely appreciate it, because the vinyl world is small, but it's growing, and it's made of passionate music lovers just like you. And this show is a love note to that to that mindset. And so I just appreciate you listening. Appreciate you listening to some of the songs that resonates with me. I can't wait to pick out next week's. It's going to be great. So until then, have yourselves a very, very vinyl journey, and keep those records spinning every single day. Have yourselves a very, very